Okay, students, this is a lesson on just basic titling for Premiere Pro 2017. It's the material I'm using is from the book that I strongly suggest you use, Premiere Pro CC 2017 by Adobe. It's called Classroom in a Book. It's the official training workbook from Adobe by Max Yago. I'm sorry if I mispronounced his name. It's a wonderful book in that it's divided up so that if you just want to know how to do titles, just go to the chapter that deals with titles, and in this case, this is chapter 16. So it opens up like this. I have hit my backslash key to spread this out so that I can see the entire thing here. Now, if I just scroll through it, you can see this is just simply clouds. There's no title here. If I go over here to my project panel and scroll down, I can find Title Start. Double click that, it opens in another window. And this window is what we're going to work with. We can also get a lot of these things other ways, and I'll show you that in a second. So let's look at this window and see what we've got to get started with. We have tools over here. As you can see, just put your mouse over these tools and they'll tell you what they do. So this is your type tool, and this is a vertical type tool, which means it can type from top to the bottom. These are path tools, so you can make your titles take a certain path. Pen tools, these are for creating keyframes, deleting keyframes, adding keyframes, or anchor points, anchor point tools. These are rounded corners where we create areas that we want the text boxes that we want to put text in. And of course, then we have alignments. We can center things vertically or horizontally, and so on and so forth. 1 or 2 or 3 or everything. These are, again, center horizontally and vertically. Up here you have your families of, pardon my voice today, your families of fonts, as you see here, and I'll show you a little trick with that in a minute. And this icon that you're looking at here, we just call this the I tool. It's just the tool that we use when we're creating typeface. So when you're typing stuff, this is what you want to look for. This is where you can change the size of your font. You can left center, right center, or left center, center, or left center, right? And these are all the parameters that you can change, right? Down here are type styles, and if you scroll down through here, you can see a whole bunch of different ones of these. This is also available. This is kind of difficult because you can't see all of your styles at once. So if you go over here, make sure you're in styles. These styles you can choose to see over here. Now I can see all of them with clouds selected here. If I change them, just click on one and it changes the font automatically. So it changes it up here, so on and so forth. Titles, you can change fonts here as well. You can change size here as well, orientation, all of the stuff that we talked about are all available here. But right here is a great thing. There's your styles. So if I want it to go away, or if I want to show it, I can click it. I can also click it here. Styles, I have title properties, which is what I was showing you a while ago. And when you want to close them up, just click them. Title tools, those were all over there on the left-hand side of that panel that I showed you, right? And title actions. If you click this, you can undock this and move it around so that you can have it in the center of your screen or whatever. So anyway, I'm going to Command Z and get this back to an Adobe Castellan. Now, one of the great things about this, and I don't like to do it here because sometimes I have titles here that I want to work with. So what I do is in the titles thing, I open up, let's go back over here, in my saved workspace. I want to look at these styles right? Or I want to look at the properties. I'm going to change the font. So I'm going to go back and get Cloudscape there, click on it so that it's got a little white box around it. If I want to change the font, I can go over here to the font family, and underneath here you'll see font style. This has regular, bold, bold italic. Not every font has this. Some fonts just have regular. Some fonts just have regular and bold. It depends on that particular font, what you're going to find here. So this will change sometimes dramatically based on what's available with that font. So this font is called Adobe Castellan Pro. If I want to change it, I can just simply click on any font, and using my up and down arrow keys, I can go through them, and if you watch the center of my screen, my source monitor here, you can, or program monitor, you can see that every time I change a font over here, it changes over here. So I can see what it's going to look like, excuse me, on this. You can see what it's going to look like very clearly before you select it, right? So you can click through all of them. So I'm going to go back up and scroll. I can scroll like I did and just go back to my Adobe Castellan. All right, so that's a few of the basics that we have here. If we want to change this, I'm going to go up and change the font size right here. I'm going to change it to 140, and I just type in 140 and hit enter, and automatically it changes to 140. You can make it bigger simply by placing your mouse over it, left click, and you can drag it. If you want it to fill a certain space, you can simply drag it until it fills that space if you're not specific with what the numbers are. Sometimes when you're dealing with a company, they want their logo, their name in a certain font, a font family. They want it in regular or bold or italic or whatever, and they will tell you that it cannot appear any less than X number of points, and that's what these are. So you may have to set your font based on that. So now that we've done that, let's move this text to the center. So what we want to do is we want to center this. So I've got this centered. If you click the left button and the right button, this is not really going to change a lot. So let me go here. I want to double click this, and I want to get my tools going over here. I want to click the center so it moves to the center. Now I want to make sure it's in that's the vertical center. I want to make sure it's in the horizontal center, and click that, and there we are. That happens like that. My preference is to work like this rather than have it as a floating screen as it started out. Now let me explain to you. I'm going to scroll in a little bit here. Let me explain to you these two boxes. These are extremely important, especially if you're doing something that is for broadcast. This internal box here, this line here, you cannot have a title even touch this line. This is called Tidal Safe. If you do, they will send your production company, ABC, NBC, CBS, or whoever, will send it back to you and tell you that at time code blah, 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 you have a title issue. So all titles have to be inside this internal box. The outside box is Action Safe box. Because we have so many different kinds of television, 720 by 480, 720 by 486, 1080p, so on and so forth, if you want it to be seen, if you want to guarantee that it's going to be seen, keep it inside this action box. But for titling, for us, this is the most important thing. No title can be outside this box. Don't even let it touch it. That's just cardinal rule. All right? So go ahead and play with a little bit over here with styles and choose a style that you like. Once you choose a style in properties, you can go down and I'll scroll out here a little bit. You can go down and you can either click your eyedropper and choose a color that's already in here. You can choose the spectrum, drag these arrows up and down to create a color that you would like. You can easily go ahead and add a drop shadow here. We have a shadow already checked. I can change the color of that drop shadow if I want to make it so that you can actually see it. Just for example purposes, I'll make it red. And so I can change the angle of that drop shadow, and I can, as you can see there. But the most important thing is distance. I think we've talked about this before with drop shadows, is that the greater the distance, the softer it should be. So in my drop shadow, I've changed my angle. If I change my distance and I increase it to like 8, right, then you can see it. If I really increase it to something dramatic, let's say I put it at 15, you're really going to be able to see it. But with that, I want to make sure that, and again, you can see by using this dial, I can change where that shadow is based on where I think the sun is coming from. Well, the sun looks like it's coming from this way, so I'll keep my drop shadow on that side, and so you can change the distance, and you can change the spread as well, right? With the opacity, that's my softening, and I can change my opacity to about 80. No, that's 1800, but about 80. And you just want to make it look like a shadow and not another set of words. So certainly we would never pick this green or this red for a drop shadow or green for the color for this, but you can go in and experiment and play with this and see how you would create a basic set of titles for yourself. Once you've got that done, drag your title onto, in this case, V1. I can spread it out to cover the entire clip, or I can shorten it. I can have it come in at a certain point and have my clouds come in, and then my title pop up and my title pop out, add, fade in, fade out, so on and so forth. So very simple, very, very simple. That's all for this one. Let's go to something else. In our next tutorial, we'll get a little bit more advanced, explain a little bit more things that are found under the titles chapter of Lesson 16 and Premiere Pro Classroom in a Book 2017. All right, thanks, guys.